I want to listen, there's rabbits over there. I got rabbits too. I got it. Don't worry. You're good. I'll wave to you when I come back. What's your videos? Don't worry, I'm gonna try and befriend these rabbits. I don't think my animal friending skills is that high though. Let me see. How do I view comments on this? 1 second. Let me see. Let me see if I can share on here. I haven't done it from my phone before. There we go. Let me post it on the Twitters real quick. There we go. So I'm still going. I gotta figure out how the comments work, dude. Look at this. Look at them shits. Hold on. Where we go? Oh. What are they doing? Are they gonna fight? I thought they were friend rabbits, but I can't tell if these are enemy rabbits. Oh, I'm not even on the rabbits. There we go. I think they don't like each other. I thought, or maybe they're playing. Oh no, I don't think so. I'm like over here like, yeah, let's talk about the chapter, but then I saw these two rabbits. I think they were gonna fight. Hey. I don't think these are friend rabbits. I think these are enemy rabbits. Friend rabbits. I think these are enemy rabbits. Like, yeah, man, introduce all these new characters, and then it's like, yeah, man, introduce all these new characters, and then it's just like, oh shit, some rabbits. So if anybody's here, comment. I see one person comment something. I don't know how to do it off my phone. Does it just pop up on the screen? I'll walk around for a bit. We're gonna be talking about the chapter, but also we're gonna be talking about these rabbits. Dude, I'm getting pretty close. I figured they would run away by now. Maybe it's because they're intimidated by each other and I'm just kind of an extra. That guy over there has some big dogs, but I'm just more interested in these rabbits. But yeah, what should we talk about first? I need somebody just to say something first, because I need to know how the comments work on the live stream. There's cows over there. Those cows are cool, but I'm just so much more interested in these rabbits, man. I don't want them to run away, but I want to get as close as possible. Maybe they know I'm not a threat. Or maybe they also read the chapter and they want to be here for it. There we go. Thank you, Happy the Assassin. So the comments do just show up on my phone through the feed generally. That's great news. I appreciate it. Man, how is the chapter for... Oh, no, fuck. I startled one of them. I think that one... I guess I don't know enough about rabbit biology. That one's tail is way bigger. The one that just ran into that tree. That smaller one is probably pretty happy that I startled the other one. I want to befriend that bunny. I don't think I can, though. They're too quick. But yeah, I told you guys I was doing a live stream. I knew I had to get one in. Unfortunately, yesterday I was planning to try and maybe do like a late night live stream or something. But I ended up working like a fucking 16-hour day. It was supposed to be a short day. It's like 1:30 and I was gonna get off, and then it was like, yeah, something came up, and then I didn't even get home till like after 10. The chapter was pretty sweet. I am very satisfied so far with just the general flow of things. I like that Natsu's been taken out pretty quickly. It builds into, obviously, like he's gonna have bigger stuff in the arc, but we're gonna be focusing, I would imagine, now next on like Gray and Co fighting. And I mean, I'm never gonna complain about a Lucy fight. Always happy to see her just put in the work. But I really want to see Gray. I know, like that's like the. There we go. I think I walked into like a spot where the service was a little ass. But yeah, there we go. What's going on though? How are you today, Happy the Assassin? How's anybody else popping in? I don't know who else is here so far. This is my first time doing, I think, a stream off my phone. So right now I'm just kind of outside, just chilling. I honestly just wanted to kind of do like an hour, talk about what's going on. There's some chickens over here. I might talk to these chickens. But the thing See, it phased for like a half second. Let me go a little bit further towards the road, just because the road... Dude, those rabbits are fucking brawling. But, the thing is, we have other Maker Wizards in the series. It's not like Gray first. Well, no, sorry. It's not like Lekka's the first. It's not like Gray's the only one. Like, if one of these guys was a Devil... Oh, dude, they're back at it. They're brawling over there. If Lekka was a Devil Slayer, I think that would be more of like the immediate, like, yeah, it makes sense to be concerned. But clearly there's something going on with Lekka that it's not just like, yeah, he's just using Fire Make. Because if we look at the art style of what we were shown, like when Gray used Fire Make in Natsu's form from the Rival Bond, there was the fact that it was just drawn like normal fire, but Lekka's is like a completely different texture format. It looks a little different. It has like this, assuming it was done digitally, it's like a grain filter. I don't really know what it's called off the top of my head, but it's just done in a different style that keeps it clearly indicating that it's not regular. So with that, it makes you wonder like what Mishima's plan is entirely for it. Because clearly it's not just going to be, yeah, it's just regular ass fire that has taken a different shape. We're going to walk over here. Just kind of chit chat. Can you hear everything that's going on? I just don't know. I guess this is like half a test stream. I've never done it off my phone before. I'll probably get somewhere comfortable and just chill. Sitting down. All right, I got this goofy ass hat for sale. It was like $1.50, so I was like, okay. And until I get my haircut, I keep wearing these hats. But I'm about to go get my haircut sometime probably in the next week or so. I just got my car fixed. So I haven't been able to drive. But I almost got in trouble at work because I was like picking up stuff in my work truck. And I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't risk it again. So I went and get my car fixed. And whenever I get some time for that, I got to go get my haircut. Yesterday was ass. Dude, I went and I was thinking about what to do. And then I got caught in that extra long shift and I was not for it. But, where was I going with this? Oh, just in general, I'm very curious as to what exactly is going on with Lekka's abilities. This looks so weird from the angle, I feel. Makes my nose look funny. But, so yeah, I keep losing my train of thought when I randomly just, like, see something. I'm like, oh, shit. I really want to go follow those rabbits. But I think I see... Oh, no, it's a bird. I was going to be like, are they coming back again? But what exactly is going to be different when it comes to Lekka? Why? So if hang on, sorry, I pressed the back button. I thought it would hold it just because it's like a running program, but I guess if you minimize it, it makes sense that it would close it out. I thought it would like take it when you have a video and then put it as a little square. I'm trying to do hands. Put it as a little square, that it would end up being kind of like continuous, like when you watch a YouTube video, but you have to check something else. See, as we've had Fire Make magic, it wasn't like as official because it was gray and not form, but I imagine it's pretty much the same functionality of it. But it's the fact that the fire is drawn differently, that clearly there's something about it that has like a difference of structure. There's something with it that is going to clearly be like, yeah, this is not just regular fire. Obviously, Natsu not being able to eat it directly implies that it has unknown variable when it comes to it. And there's the obvious fact Natsu can adapt, Slayers can adapt to their variations of their magic. But I think just because he was like immediately jumped after that when it was used on him and he's trying to figure it out, that he just didn't really have the opportunity. And Natsu's not as fast as Gray when it comes to Slayer adaptation. So like when we saw Gray get frozen from Hakude, he just kind of got surprised, and I feel like he just didn't like really think of the effect until it was already taken place, where it's like once he knew, he just bam and then countered it and was able to be fine just using it. And then similar to he's like breaking out of her other abilities and dealing with her attacks and stuff. But I don't know, it's weird because like you have, what was it, Raj and Lekka and Wed. I really like the idea that Wed's name was Zed, I just like immediately thought of Lord Zed. He's got a similar style mask helmet too, and oh, man, this dude just looks cool. It's so funny because I was talking to Poison on Twitter, and I know I mentioned it at least once on one of my other videos of the number two of Fire and Flames being like a dude with a bunch of armor and a great sword, and then we get exactly that machine, but it's just a dude with an armor and a great sword. Seems like he's only got one arm though, which is really cool. And I know there's like the people are like, what if Rekka, or I don't know why I said Rekka. I immediately thought of Flame of Rekka. Um, but what if Wed is actually a woman, which is always a possibility. You know, character and armor and stuff. I feel like at least as of right now, it's easy to assume. You know, you can go either or until we get like an actual confirmation. I just really like the idea when I was talking to somebody about it that it's if you take off the armor, it's like this is just a swordsman who's like burned and scarred, and he's only got one arm because of all the times he's tried to fight Ignia. I think that would be super sick. It would just be like such a visual storytelling piece of a character without actually having to like go as much into like every detail. Because if we get like an idea of a backstory, Ignia a bunch of times, and then you take, you know, character takes off the armor covered in burns and all these like very severe wounds, it's not hard to figure out what exactly caused that and stuff. And to seems like Mishima has been setting. Oh, what's up, Alex? How are you doing? I wonder if I was gonna say Raj, and then I saw your name and somehow combined it and said Rekka. I don't know. It seems like Mishima has been setting this up for a while. Like we've got Water Make. See, with like Water Make though, and Gray's Fire Make, it's more so just directly the element, the attribute. Whereas when Gray somewhat in the manga, but it's obviously harder to tell just because it's shaded differently. But he is using like a different color of ice, and clearly the fire that Lekka's using is some different variation of fire. I really like the idea. I know a lot of people have been the idea of like, could this guy be a Devil Slayer? I know with Brian, I was like thinking about it, but it was mostly just because like he's got like the weird mouths and stuff, you know, a little spooky, a little demonic. You can kind of connect it and say like maybe. I feel like with this dude, it can work better for the story. And on top of that, we have the fact that Ignia knows somewhat about them, so maybe he found a fire make wizard or ran into him, and then that led to also giving him, getting him to have devil slaying. So it's like, yeah, they have a fire, or they have an ice make wizard and ice devil slayer. So what if we kind of set you up like that? Because there's at least for me right now, I like the idea, and my current running theory when it comes to Ignia and forming the guild is he's got his own things obviously going on, but what if part of it is why he's gathering all these fire wizards is he's trying to forcefully train Natsu and kind of like make him lead up to the level of fire abilities that he has. Because it would make sense. It's like you take all these exotic types of fire that maybe, Natsu's never even heard about in the world, these different types of magic, and put him through the ringer, and that's what leads him up to, just not even like, oh yeah, this is an opponent that's hard for me because of like a hack or something. It's just like, oh, it's a different type of fire. And though it isn't like a serious like all out fight, it's something that he's able to kind of figure out just from interacting with it, which would be really cool. But with Lekka, if he's not a Devil Slayer, I'm hoping he's a pure fire make wizard. And the reason that his fire is able to do something that is like harder for Natsu is maybe there's like a level of capability with maker magic that you have, that you can achieve, because with Lekka, clearly just based off of where he should be at, he should be way above Obviously, when we only really saw her in flashbacks, and I would imagine that just based off of how she was shown to us in her story, she had to have Ultir pretty young. So she probably stopped doing as much like direct training and trying to expand her abilities when she had her daughter. So you could easily say, well, years later, stronger world of magic in terms of like literally the quantity of magic, higher levels of knowledge in what you could achieve with your magic because he's directly working with the fire dragon god. So having a better grasp of fire magic makes sense. You have a direct, like the greatest person in that attribute literally next to you. I don't imagine he's like having classes with him all the time, but you probably can just figure stuff out just from like seeing him and doing stuff, especially with all the other fire wizards. He like I imagine it's like a melting pot of ideas and development for them and anybody within um, that classification of magic, anybody that uses fire magic. So for him, if it's like, oh yeah, this is like a skill or something that you can do with fire make magic, kind of like if ice shell, there's like ice shell is like the stepping point between them. There's like an equivalent to each maker magic. But if you achieve going beyond that, it's like you are putting yourself maybe directly into it, like a bit of your life force into your attacks, and it makes it harder for anything like that. Like he developed a way to advance his fire make, so maybe at a time Ignia couldn't eat it. Well, I mean he's a dragon, so it's like it's weird that we know how that Slayers obviously eat their element, but I feel like with the dragons themselves, they should be fine doing it. But at the same time, it's like we never really see it, so it's like it just makes sense though that at the same time he wouldn't be able to do anything with it, or maybe he was like developing it to fight other fire wizards, and he's like, well, this is because I did this. It makes it differentiated from the rest of it, kind of like how Axis has red lightning. It's lightning, but it's also got blood magic involved. I like how many people Ignia will have in his guild. I'm really liking the quantity so far. The quantity of his guild has been fantastic. I really like that we're just getting characters kind of put in there, and we're having a very widespread of people to deal with. It doesn't have to just be like the elite people with whatever title, the five something somethings, and that's always really cool. I like when you have like a hierarchy developed within a group power, and you have like a very clear spot. It's like, well, you have these two characters, and it's like people can argue who's stronger and whatnot, but if one guy is part of the elite squad and one guy isn't, unless we have something happen, it's easy to say like, well, there's no way that the person who's not part of that more powerful subsection within a group is going to be above one of the people that is. And it just gives you like an understanding of just kind of like the gaps and like the levels within a organization. But at the same time, I don't like it when we only have those characters and we only have, the special ranked people. One of the things that to me is a look back, and I wish the anime did it, is with Tartaros, and you can say somewhat with Grimoire Heart too. Racion Stace is kind of different because obviously they were supposed to be 6 people, but having those non-ranked people within their group just makes it really cool. And we had it somewhat in Alvarez. I wish we saw more of those people who were in the group minion kind of subordination spots as like Marin Hollow, because I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool. It's like everybody's got their own little sub squad, and it makes it so they seem more like, again, a larger organization than they appear to be. Because like with the Racion Seis, they're supposed to be people. You're not supposed to get a lot of them. With Tartaros, I feel like it was always like a missed opportunity to show lower level people and then give some of the lower level people in the guilds fights. Because like I really like it when you have like a group fight, but also it's always nice, even if it's just like a chapter or so. If you say you had like someone like Max fights some demon who's just like, oh, I'm a candidate in the running to maybe be one of the demon gates. And then when we have the bit with Margir, when he's like, oh yeah, whoever captures and kills that girl, you'll get promoted. And to me, I always thought like that would have been such a cooler moment if you had knowledge of some of these other guys. So it's like then a few of them pop up, you know where they're kind of at, you know what they're gunning for, and you also have an understanding of like, is this going to be a problem? Instead of just throwing those people. Um, Black Clover 2 had a problem with that, I feel, personally, with the Dark Disciples. I always thought they were a really wasted opportunity to have a much more steady kind of just onslaught of opponents. I gotta move my camera around. I always really like the idea. This is real fast, and I'll get back to talking about the chapter. I always like the idea that we would stick more towards the Dark Triad would be the obviously end of that arc bosses, and we would see eventually the main cast would end up fighting them, whether it wasn't a straight direct group fight for each of them. Because I always assumed it would be some form of like, obviously each of them would have their own individual fights against, Dante, Xenon, and Vonica. But I always figured it would be much further down the line, And I know obviously Magna ended up taking on Dante, but to me, I think it would have been cooler if it was like each of the Dark Triad had one Dark Disciple who's like their number two, and that was like the person that the main cast could all 1v1 at the time and put some problems into the works. And then once they do defeat them, it's like, okay, now they're ready to fight the Dark Triad. And I think that's the value for characters like that, is you have like a gauge of, well, this is the point between A and point B, and you have to, I guess really it's like tiers, you know what I mean? Defeat B to get to A. Kind of like how like Bleach had the people that used to be a spotter that were kicked out. So you know when they were defeated, you got an understanding of, okay, well, the main cast may not be powerful enough to just go and beat all these Espada, but we know that they're capable of being able to keep up. What's up, Kobe Phantom? How you doing today, man? What's the chance other anime comes out? Manga will be weekly again for a while. Personally, I don't really feel like weekly is that good of a. I don't think it's really a good choice. I think for some series, like for instance, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Beyblade, anything that it's like the anime is appreciated, but it's not like realistically the main focus of the IP. Like obviously people still like Pokemon, they still like Yu-Gi-Oh, but when it comes to that IP, they're going to be focusing more on, the product release and stuff. Whereas when it comes to a lot of the animes, like especially weekly and volume sales is really important, the quality of the anime usually ends up really affecting how the sales are. And it's been shown time and time again, as long as you don't just rush it and throw the product out there, it ends up doing very well for the series themselves. I mean, you can look at like how many people really talked about the last season of Seven Deadly Sins outside of like how bad the animation was. How many people really talk about Magi anymore? The anime never came back, and because of that, like the fans still exist, but like growth where it stagnated, it hit a wall and then just kind of stopped. To me, well, I really hope that have much rushing when it comes to the 100 Years Quest anime, because it's a really good position for growth of the fandom, because we have like the people that are reading 100 Years Quest, we have the people that are waiting for the anime, we have people that they don't really know too much about 100 Years Quest. They didn't even know about it until the anime got announced and we got like the teaser and stuff. And there are people that maybe used to be in the fandom but ended up not really following the series as much, through either maybe not liking it, maybe they just kind of lost track of it. And maybe there are people that think about it, and a good anime is a really good segue to get all those people to kind of like really reconvene into things. I mean, look what happened with Bleach. Bleach's anime came back, popped off, increased volume sales, brought in a bunch of new fans, revitalized a lot of the fandom. And so like the people that were there all the time, that were, that never left, they're just swimming in new activity, new stuff going on. And that's kind of like, to me, where I can see Fairy Tail going when it comes to the anime return. I mean, if they completely drop the plot and then like the anime doesn't look as good as we're hoping, and it's probably mostly just going to be like new fans who just kind of want to get into the general popularity of like people just being excited in general. But if they pop off, then there's going to be a whole new big plethora of events going on and people talking about it and doing all this stuff for it. So it'll be really cool to see just where it goes once the anime comes out, and especially when we get the first trailer to see what we're going to really be expecting. Well, to see where our expectations are going to be met. To me personally, I think that it's really just, if you read the manga, what are the parts that people really want to see? And I'm trying to get my hand in here, but it's like because of my camera position, I have to hold one arm so far away, because I do a lot of hand stuff when I'm talking. This makes it easier for me to try and keep the flow when I'm saying. But whenever you're animating something, and this is obviously, I'm not an animator, but when it comes to thinking about what I want as a consumer, what exactly would you be excited for when reading it to see animated? And that's what I think they need to really make sure to stick on for the first season. Don't just like make a random scene where it's like, they have a funny part with the fish when Ermin is underwater, and they animate it really well. But then it's like, some of the fight between Diablos look, you know, halfway done. That's what people don't want. I don't mind seeing stuff that is like, oh yeah, the characters are just swimming around in water and having dialogue to look pretty normal, but it's those parts what the people are expecting uh, to really just juice up. I have the feeling that Fairy Tail will experience the same as Eden Zero. It won't get a big jump in sales. See, I don't think that's really going to be the case. The difference between Eden Zero and Fairy Tail is you have to think of it like this. Whenever whenever a series gets an anime, there's always the possibility that it will increase it, and there's a possibility that things don't kind of pop off. But there's, I got no, I always forget just because it's like I think it's a notification for stuff's going on, but it's just general shit. Um, there's a difference when it's like something that is brand new coming out because people will be like, well, I don't know if I want to check that out or not, whatever. And because like with Eden Zero, people compared it obviously to Fairy Tail and stuff, but you didn't have as oh, my wife's looking at me. Just send me a message. I don't know what she's saying. You getting tired? Me? No, I'm fine. I don't know what she's saying. Just send me a message. I'll see it. I'll come back in a few minutes. She's over there sitting on the porch. With it though, it's you have like the established fandom, and after the anime comes out, there's only going to be you have to think of like how many people then from the anime are going to come in. But with Fairy Tail, there's already established fandom from both a manga that's been going a long time, animes that hundreds of episodes. There are a lot of people that are waiting for it. So on top of that, there's there's always the possibility that that can happen, easily. But a lot of that is going to depend on how well the anime performs. Because there's a lot of people that exist in the fandom, but like, what happens if it comes back? Stuff pops off. You have really cool animated scenes and fights and stuff, really cool opening and music, and then you have a bunch of people that decided like, oh, I'll come check it out, blah blah. But then you also have those people that maybe they were a fan, but they never bought any merchandise. But the anime coming back really revitalizes their um, relationship with the series, and so they want to buy some volumes. They're like, okay, buy it. Maybe they've started collecting manga, but they hadn't collected any Fairy Tail volumes. But it was seeing stuff going on in their Quest that made them want to. It just kind of depends. Obviously, that you can't fully predict what people are going to do from a consumer standpoint, but it's more so how the anime affects the buyers, all the different people that are interested already or will be interested in afterwards. Because, like, what if you have people that are a big fan, but they're like, they've never bought any volumes, but then whenever the anime comes out, they're like, okay, now I actually want to, you want to add it to your collection, you want to support what's going on. Or maybe just even read 100 Years Quest, and you have like volumes from the original series, but after you start watching 100 Years Quest, you're like, okay, well, I want to add the manga to my collection too. It just kind of, again, it just kind of depends. But I think Bleach is a really good example of it. It's just like the anime came back, it really gained a lot of momentum, and that caused volume sales and back numbers to really kind of go well. Whereas if you have look at something like Mashal season one didn't really do too much for the manga sales. Like, it increased it, but it's not like it did anything crazy. Season two came out, the opening went viral, and it ended up making a lot of volumes, like back sales, all come forward and do a lot for it. Do I think the 100 Years Quest anime is going to be better than Eden Zero anime? If I had to guess, yeah. Just because it's one of those things too. Is like I said, with Eden Zero, you had the manga fandom existing, but you had the anime fandom unknown when it came out. So it's like, think of it like this: say like you're about to sell something, you're like, okay, no, say I guess if you were gonna sell some T-shirts, you had people that were like, 10 people you knew was there, but there's like 30 people that might be buyers. Because there's like, 10 people know from manga, 30 anime fans. How many of the anime fans that haven't seen the show yet will be interested in buying it after they get to that point? Whereas like with Fairy Tail, you already have a lot of the anime fans existing, so they're going to come back just from the 100 Years Quest starting. because there's a lot of people that finish the series and have been waiting for it. Maybe there's people that never finished it, and the 100 Years Quest will be motivation back for it. And because you already have that established fan base and those people already established and knowing the IP a lot more, it is worth more of a time and investment to put more into the anime. It's like, think about it like if you were gonna make a show adaptation. You're like, how much budget would you want for like making a game that nobody really knows too much about into a show, versus if you were going to make a show about like Star Wars or something? You know that like it has a much larger already existing consumer base, so it makes sense to put more time, money, and effort into the thing that's going to produce more of a return. Obviously, that's just more of just kind of gating it. And could be not. I would imagine so, just based off of, again, with Eden 02, the sales were solid. I know it's not like a crazy seller, but like Fairy Tail does have a pretty big overall number. Like, not even talking about the spin-offs, and I don't know when it's been a couple years since the volume sales have been updated, but it's like what, 75, 77 million volume sales. So that there's already a good lot more people that know about it, and with a good or a better anime and putting more time in it, you look at all of those already connected customers, and you have the higher potential for that resurge of buyers. Again, Bleach is a really good example of that, because Bleach already had strong numbers. Anybody who's watched the Bleach anime knows the parts where it doesn't look the best, but it's still a really solid, well-beloved anime. And when it came back, you had just all of these people now suddenly just more interested in doing all these things because they put the time and animation with it. Where it's like you could have a show and you put all this time and budget and stuff in it, maybe it's not as well received, and you just have this really nice looking show, but it doesn't yield as much profit. Whereas like something like Fairy Tail holds a lot more of that potential return. When you find out who Ignia's voice actor is, honestly, I feel like we could get that at any point. I mean, it's what, 3 months now until the anime, so that's something that we could have show up at any point, because there's not really a lot of like new characters in the first season. We're gonna get the Diablos members, we're gonna get Mercphobia, and Ignia is just gonna be on the list. Maybe they're gonna wait a little bit, because like if you're an anime only, announcing who the voice actors will probably be a little bit of a spoiler, but I imagine they're not going to be as caring for it for anime only people. But you should go to Urza and Laxus and Mercphobia Alderaan fights. Yeah, any of those major fights, it's like with, say, like Gray and the Thunder Legion, don't need to go crazy with that one. You really don't need to. Natsu and Wraith, don't need to go crazy with that one. Whereas like, when they get to like Gray and Hakune, yeah, pop off. Natsu and Alderaan, yeah, pop off. You want to use it for the stuff that is more so going to be your polls, the things that might go viral if you do well animating them and making them much more pristine, and how they're going to be viewed by other people. And he's about to go crazy snork in the manga, dude. I'm so excited to see what this dude has to offer. Like, it's actually insane. Like, I'm so tempted to look through some of my older videos and timestamp when I've said certain things, because I've hit so many things when it comes to Ignia. Like, there's no way that it wasn't even within the last handful of videos. Like, I'm very willing to really like make the call that I said it in just talking about Ignia's crew is like, oh yeah, his second in command is I want an armored guy with a greatsword. We get an armored guy with the and on top of that, Mishima's like, I'll even throw another one in for you. It gives him one arm, seemingly one arm. Like, he just looks damn cool. I feel like for me, though, I wasn't as, like, overall hyped to say with Lekka, just because, like, the shot of Wed is... You're just kind of seeing it as, like, a frontal bit. Maybe once we see this guy actually in action, I think it'll be way more generally hype. Like, I wish we had, like, maybe just, like, the same thing, but it was more detailed. Like, you just had more shading. You had more kind of just, like, a hype bit. But, they just kind of show him. We'll probably have him in the next chapter of giving us more of, like, a look at this character. Because in this one, I feel like, though Wed is really cool, everyone is more so interested in Lekka, just because Lekka's whole thing would... I mean, just... Even not going into, like, the whole, like, mystery around, like, what's different about his fire magic, but the fact that he has fire make magic is really neat. Do you think we'll get additional content and what it will be? I want to see some fighting between Laxus and Shalal in the beginning. I would like a skirmish. I think it'd be really cool if we just had a light 1.5 minute skirmish where they just kind of clash and we have like a couple spells thrown and maybe they like kind of like meet in the middle from that and then they kind of just have a moment like where they're like I don't know if we should, like maybe Jalal's like I can't pursue this because Laxus won't back down and I don't want to put anyone else in danger kind of thing. But other than that, I don't think they should do anything excessive. Anything that they add for new content, I would like a lot more just small world building, maybe seeing kind of stuff in some of the towns. Like if you're like, oh yeah, we just, put in 2 minutes of them just exploring a shop or, some sightseeing where it's like some really cool environment. Maybe like a place with like a big waterfall and it splits down and because where the water is, it like shoots all these light beams where like the water reflects in the light and that causes just a really cool visual effect that it just makes the environment look really pretty kind of thing. I wonder if we'll add a fight scene in the first episode to show off the crew back in action. That wouldn't surprise me. I think it would make a lot of sense is like you have maybe on the way they like run into some bandits or just some like low-level thugs where each of them could just do some normal attacks. I hope it is not like Bleach where they just like, yeah, we're randomly going to use all these big attacks in like populated areas of the city. I just thought that was always really funny. We'll see. Anyway, I just wanted to do a short video stream just because I wanted to see like how this works. I haven't done one before. Does anyone have any general comments? I know this was unplanned. I'm still getting back into the full swing of things with the channel. I try just as something to add there, just because you guys know, I recorded like episode 2, I think through 8 or 9 of the anime for Fairy Tail for like just doing my rewatch because I was like, well, I'll just bulk watch a bunch of episodes and put that on there so people can see those if they want, and then when I come back I'll do like the other shows because I talked about it a little bit. I had to house sitting my computer for a few more days, and then my freaking OBS like randomly just tweaks out and deletes my file with all my recordings, and I was like, well, that's not a huge deal because it's stuff I've already seen and I can rewatch the episodes without it being too much of a problem. But I'm like, well, that just deleted hours of work and now I don't have anything to put on the channel for the next like week. So we'll get back to that soon. There's a couple videos I want to do just talking about Ignia's crew and stuff going on in the story. I need to make another video just like some of my like wish list things coming up because I keep hitting them. It's pretty crazy. Shalal versus Gears. I think that would be kind of cool. I think it'd be cool just to see like just some more little bits from each of the God Seeds, or maybe like some little extra stuff from Diablo. I mean, we'll probably get like more, maybe like the fights with Diablos extended in the anime, something like that. We're gonna do a Rave Master versus Fairy Tail power scale. We could do something like that. I just would have to think of like how I want to format it. I want to kind of get that all laid out. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. I will try and do at least one more stream this week. I'll get it more planned out. We'll probably talk more in depth over what's going on. We'll figure out what's gonna like maybe gonna happen. We'll talk about maybe we'll plan out some like versus stuff and kind of some stuff to talk about. I might try and do more of these like shorter streams. So I just kind of like I just go outside. It's about to be summer, so it's gonna be nice for the most part. It's not, and I'm not going outside when it's raining, but just to go somewhere, get comfortable, and just kind of talk a little bit, and then maybe get over some plans of what I'm going to do and then work into those because there's a couple of videos like I said I've got in the works. I've got trying to just get out hopefully in the next week or so, and I want to do more of like this the reaction stuff, just the small stuff just for the people that are into that, and we'll get everything kind of just into motion. I'm really hoping that I can just kind of get it all set up before the anime returns. I've got like 3 months, so it shouldn't be a problem. Who do you like more, Lucia or Ziggy? I want to wait till Ziggy's done, but I don't know. I like Ziggy a lot, but I feel like Lucia just has more in terms of like his interactions directly with the story. Whereas Ziggy, I like Ziggy's ties to Shiki more than I like Lucia's ties to Haru. But anyway, I gotta get ready. I'm about to go get some food. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I guess I'll kind of close this out for anybody who hasn't. Just know there's a lot more content coming up in the next couple weeks. I unfortunately had an issue with my recordings, deleted a bunch of shit by mistake. Well, no, I didn't delete it by mistake. There was something issue with OBS, and I've looked it up. Apparently it happens every once in a while. And I'm pretty sure it happened to me once before. I just don't remember when. But as it were, we will have, I mean, this arc is already getting really hype. I want to make sure that I have all of my stuff laid out before we kind of get into more of like the momentum of this arc, because it's already in a really good spot, and I love seeing how we're just starting it out right now. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Like I said, depending on the days or the times I get off throughout this week, we'll do like another stream and just figure out what people want to really discuss when it comes to like how this arc's going. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.